All right now.
Patrick Mahomes is basically God playing quarterback.
Chiefs Kingdom
Live!
They want it. They wanted it.
And when it's grim, be the Grim Reaper. Go get it.
That's a different tier right there, baby.
Yeah, we're not having a snowball fight.
Three. No one's ever got three. I want that to back to back.
The Lombardi Trophy is a red and gold reflection. Touchdown! Kansas City! One of the greatest duos in the history of the National Football League. Patrick Mahomes to Travis Kelce.
Let's go!
Do it live! You gotta fight for your right to fight!
It'll get handled when it gets handled.
Let's go!
Oh, I love that.
Howdy, Chiefs Kingdom. It's Wednesday. It's 8 o'clock. It's Chiefs Kingdom Live. Thank you so much for joining us. As always, real quick, if you wouldn't mind, before you forget, make sure to click and tap that like and click and tap that subscribe button. Maybe tell a friend, tell a family member, tell Chiefs fans, help spread the word, help grow the show. We'd sure appreciate it. We got a good show lined up tonight. We're getting to the end of the regular season. The playoff picture is taking shape. We've got Patrick Mahomes. Should he play? Should he not play discussion? The one seed's within grasp. It's right there. Chiefs had, I don't know if you consider 21-7 a blowout win by this team's standards. I think maybe that is a blowout, but we're going to talk about that game against the Browns, a big game at home, the last regular season game of the year at Arrowhead against the Houston Texans. We're going to talk Patrick Mahomes' injury, AFC playoffs, whatever you want. Before we get into the show tonight, fellas, how we doing tonight, Bo?
Hey, good to see you guys. Sorry I missed last week. I was busy in Jersey flying my drones around, so I don't even might have heard about it.
I didn't hear about that.
What?
Yeah, weird, right? No, I didn't think it was going to cause such a ruckus, but no, I'm doing good, man. How are you guys doing? Good to see you guys.
Nick, how are you?
Yeah, I'm good. I thought maybe you were down there in Antarctica with the flat earthers doing the final experiment, Bo. But no, I'm great, man. It's dude, it's almost game time. When you have small kids, Christmas is a big deal. So we're getting everything ready to go. We're gonna have shrimp boil at the house on Christmas Day. That's kind of our new thing that we started doing, so you don't have to like spend the entire day trying to cook a bunch of shit for like a 10-minute supper. But we're good, man. How about you, Scotty?
I'm doing good. You having a shrimp boil? Or are you gonna have shrimp burger, shrimp kebab,
Cocktail,
shrimp gumbo,
Garlic shrimp, sauteed shrimp, fried shrimp.
No, that
shrimp.
sounds good. Sounds good. Yeah, no, I'm doing real well. Chiefs are 13-1. They are currently
Let's go.
have the best record in the NFL. Life is good. Christmas right around the corner. So the folks are coming in town tomorrow. We're going to have a big family thing here at the house. I'm sure we'll be talking Chiefs football with the fam here. So a little programming note for next week. We are going to have the show on Thursday instead of Wednesday night. So didn't want to be having the show on Christmas night while the Chiefs game was going on. That's a night game or is that a day game, though? Actually, I should have.
Ooh, I didn't check. I think it's
a
day
double
game.
header, right? I can't remember if it's the day or the night game. Either way, we didn't want to have a show Christmas night. So we'll be back on Thursday, and we'll talk about the Texans game and the Steelers game on Christmas Day. Hopefully, the Chiefs got a couple wins in the bag, and we'll talk about what that means for Patrick and the playoffs. But Chiefs get the big win over the Browns, 21-7. It was an interesting game. I don't know, just fellas, before we get into the details and kind of talk about what we thought went well and what didn't go so well for the Chiefs, overall thoughts, how'd you feel watching that game, Nick?
Look, there were some frustrations that we didn't win by more, I guess, but we won by 2 touchdowns. We were up by 21 points at one point in time, and at no point really was the game ever in question. So that's about as relaxing of a Chiefs victory as we've had all season, really,
Right.
if you think about it. I mean, there's some there's some things that, we wish would have gone better, some things we wish wouldn't happened, right? Patrick getting folded up like a pretzel again looked really similar to that Jacksonville divisional hit, right, where the guy kind of rolled up on his leg and he got folded backwards. But I felt it was pretty easy watching, right? It felt like, it was funny so the very first interception, like I got distracted and I missed the play. I was like, oh, we finally got a turnover. And I missed it, and I was like kind of pissed. And then it's just like, but wait, there's more. There's a whole lot more turnovers. So,
A whole lot.
yeah. So that's about how I felt.
Bo, how'd you feel watching that game?
I kept thinking about Nick 2 weeks ago, talking about just being frustrated over a win, and it was just like, yeah, man, just to watch like 8 or 9 punts from our offense was just so frustrating. But we beat the demons of, your team can only beat any team by 1 score or less. We beat that demon down. Our defense looks like it got back into shape, really fine-tuned. Great game to iron out some of the kinks. But a lot to learn from that game. I think our offense could definitely do better. I mean, there was some awesome play calling followed up just by some horrendous plays and play calling. It was hard to tell which one, if they just broke down or if that was the design play. But a lot to take from that game, that's for sure. But we'll get into it here a little bit more. What about you, Scotty?
I felt pretty comfortable. There was a moment there after the Browns had the long touchdown run and the Chiefs went 3 and out and the Browns got the ball back, and I want to say they picked up a couple first downs. I was like, is this really about to be a 1-score game?
Right.
But the Chiefs defense put the kibosh on that and got the ball back and really just stifled the Browns offense. It was about as comfortable as win as you can. When you're up 21-0 in an NFL game, you're doing good. Maybe, you'd like to say you'd like to have a bigger lead. I think we put out on the Chiefs Kingdom X account. If you're not following us on social media, you can find us there at Chiefs Kingdom Live. This game feels like it should probably be about 33-0 right now instead of 21-7, but it's the NFL, and it's weird, and it's hard, man, to go out there and just blow teams out and win by 35 points. It's just extremely difficult to do that. I felt good. I was probably about the most comfortable I felt watching the Chiefs game. Like Nick said, just trying to think back to maybe a game that I felt more comfortable about, and I can't think of one. That's about as easy of a win, as big of a margin as they've had all year. So, it was nice to have a semi-stress-free game. I don't think we're ever going to have completely stress-free games again for whatever reason.
We have left, that's for sure.
Right. Probably not this season anyway. So, let's just get into Bo, you talked about the offense. I'd like to see them do a little bit better. Look, the Browns' defense is pretty good for a 3-11 team. Right.
Sure.
That's definitely the strength of that team. There were some plays there that were close that if they make them, I think it's a lot different story. The DeAndre Hopkins play, obviously, where he dropped the ball right down there at the goal line. They ended up kind of forcing a punt. There was a couple other plays too, guys dropping passes or whatnot. So, Nick, what did you see out of the Chiefs offense that you liked or maybe that you didn't like?
Yeah, so other than not converting a 4th down, in a missed field goal, which is technically special teams, there right before the half. We had 3 touchdowns. We were scoring, right. I think that that's a good takeaway. I think that Mahomes got hit, right, but no sacks is another win. I know that Tooney, got asked to not only play out of position but play out of position against one of the best pass rushers in the NFL. So to me, that is a pretty incredible thing to ask of a person and have them go. And they, he gave up some pressures, which you're going to against Myles Garrett, but to not give up any sacks, I think, is a huge win, and it shows his versatility. And being willing to do everything for the team. I heard somebody talking and they were like, yeah, that guy's got 4 Super Bowl wins, right? And he's just like, yeah, whatever you need, coach. Like, you want me to go play a position I haven't played, since I was in, I don't know,
College,
high school or college or something. it's pretty awesome, man. So those are the things that I take away from this win as a positive.
Yeah, I don't know if it's my computer or my phone here, but I don't know. You guys are freezing up a little bit. I don't know if I'm freezing up on your end or not, but
Good here.
Bo, offense.
Let's start with what I liked.
Good, the
right?
bad,
I feel
whatever.
like I'm pretty critical about this game on their own. I mean, we scored 21 points. I love it and everything, but man, I've never been more concerned about this tackle problem that we have. As Nick pointed out, man, we're putting a Band-Aid on it. We're moving guys around and, putting guys in places they're not used to, and we really see the consequences of it. I mean, we've known what this is ever since that Tampa Bay Super Bowl, right? When your O-line goes down, and it's just Patrick has no confidence, it's worrisome, right? And I think that's like my PTSD that I have in the back of my head that I'm just worried about right now is just watching this line fail over and over again, and Patrick have to scramble so much. This game was a little different, right? I think one thing that I noticed that I really liked is that he actually had some time this game, right? I think moving Tooney out there and Caliendo coming in and supporting him, he actually had a little bit more time, like we were saying, just like a half second, but he just wasn't used to it. He still has that lack of confidence in the line that, he can't take four or five steps back and really just sit there for a second. So you kind of saw him just not really get the rhythm of having that extra half second.
A little hand shy, kind of like a whipped dog or something.
Right. Just, it was open. He's just like, oh shit, it is open and I have time. And just the timing's off when you have to think about it a little bit. So I really noticed that, but like I said, it's never been more worrisome watching him take so many hits. I think the second half of that game, the defense kind of figured out what our O-line was doing and how we were patching that hole up. And they were getting to him, man. It was a little concerning watching him go out there, even on, we're up 2 scores, and they're still having him go out there and pass instead of run the ball and drain the clock. There was a couple drives in the second half where we only took 40 seconds off the clock, and we're like, what are we doing, guys? Just trying to get him hurt? It seemed a little sus, as the kids say today, a little sus. Right. But, at the end of the day, I have full confidence in Andy Reid and what he's doing. There's no experience like game time experience, right? And I can't help but feel like, all right, we need these guys to feel the pressure of what you need to pass block in really critical situations, right? And we're going to do it as much as we can, get you as much experience so that this isn't a problem going forward. But man, it was just hard to watch that second half, just whew. But okay, positive notes. I feel like I'm too critical now. I'm loving that we're getting our weapons back, right? We're getting Pacheco back. Brown's full practice this week. That 1-2 punch on the running game is awesome. Worthy did great. Noah Gray again coming in clutch. Kelty, always old reliable TMFK there. I love that our team's almost coming to full strength. It appears dangerous when they're out there shit, look who they're throwing out this one. Oh man, I forgot about this guy, right? It's awesome to watch the offense come back to full force. So yeah,
definitely the biggest takeaway for me is kind of what Bo was talking about, is just the inability to protect Patrick. I know he didn't have any sacks. He had a few plays where he had some time to stand back there in the pocket, but I think he was pressured over 50% of the snaps, which is the highest mark that he had been pressured in a game since 4 or 5 years ago. So I don't know. He looks a little bit off in some of his passes, but can you blame the guy who's getting the hell beat out of him? He's feeling the hits and the beating the guy's been taking.
Completely.
To me, this is almost starting to feel like Andrew Luck in the Colts, or Joe Burrow's first season or two, especially there in Cincinnati, where the dude is just – it's just a matter of time, right, before he gets taken out, man. And how the team got in this position where they are just unable to protect Patrick Mahomes. I was a little bit is unlucky that they've been really good at drafting. We put out on the Chiefs Kingdom Live X account, with how good this team has been at drafting the last 2 or 3 or 4 years, how have they just completely whiffed at left tackle? I don't – the guys they got out there, Kingsley, the rookie, and then Morris, he's been on the team a couple of years now. Those guys are a turnstile. At least you have to slow down, push the bar, right, to go through it. There's plays where the defender just runs right by the guy, and it looks like the tackle hasn't even like come off the line and gotten a stance or even put an arm out to try to slow the guy down. It's really puzzling to me that they have put themselves in this position with the tackles and left tackle especially. With that said, Patrick Mahomes is a magician, and he's Houdini, and he's a miracle worker, and the guy just goes out there, and he's not making all the plays you've come to expect him to make, but he's making the plays that the team needs when they need them to win games, and that's why they're 13-1. A big part of that too is the defense, and we'll talk about them having an outstanding game. So, I like the 1-2 punch. Bo, you mentioned Isaiah Pacheco and Kareem Hunt. I still feel like Kareem Hunt is maybe the better option. Should be getting more of the carries. It just seems like he gains more yards when he gets well, and that could be blocking. That could be the way the play's set up. Maybe they're getting the defense in bad spots. He definitely does not have that breakaway ability, though, and that top gear that Isaiah Pacheco has. But, I think that running game is going to come back around. Isaiah Pacheco, he's still coming back from – that's a major injury, man. I mean, you had surgery and you got screws and plates in your ankle and you come back and play the same year. It's going to take a toll on you, and it's going to slow you down a little bit, and it's going to take a while to get back into game speed. So, I'm really loving, man, the emergence of Noah Gray. This dude –
Me too.
He's found a nose for the end zone, right? I want to say he has 6 or 7 touchdowns on the season. I don't know what his catch to touchdown percentage ratio is, but it's got to be pretty damn good because the guy is always catching touchdowns now. He's got maybe the best hands on the team. Do you guys argue with that? The dude does not drop the ball. When they throw the ball to him and it hits him in the hands, he catches it. So I'm really liking what he's doing. I think Travis is laying in wait and kind of laying back in the weeds in the tall grass, waiting to pounce here playoff time. I think that could be a very, very, very lethal combination at the tight end position come playoff time. So, I'm liking it. D-Hop's looking like he's getting more familiar, he's getting some more targets. He had the drop, which I don't know. I don't know. He's like, the curse is on him now or something when it comes to like dropping these passes. We talked about the game.
The defender looked like it got punched out a little bit as they were going to the ground too. So,
yeah, I don't know. I think.
Are you talking about the drop that popped up and he caught it and they had to review it? That one?
Yeah, the one where they reviewed it for whatever reason. It was clearly the ball hit the ground. I don't know. I didn't think the defender really made all that much of a play on the ball. So I don't think that has not been characteristic of him. So I'll be surprised to see that keep moving forward. But he had the big drop on third down a few weeks ago where he made the joke about, man, I need to go to therapy or something. I dropped a pass. So the guy's as sure-handed as any receiver's ever been in the NFL. So I don't expect that to continue. But, just overall, they played good enough to win. They should have scored more points. A couple drops, a couple plays here and there where they were close to making it. And I think you see a bigger score. The story of the game, though, really was the defense, right? Bo, the defense, I mean, they balled out. The turnovers stand out, making plays. What did you see? What did you notice or like maybe the most about what the defense did?
This was that game, right, where it was just like, all right, guys, are we going to work on the little things? And it seemed like they did. The tackling was solid. We didn't get completely blown out of the water on coverage, right? Nobody got, blew an assignment that terrible. I mean, there was a couple missed ones, but, didn't really, crush us too bad. Pressure all day long, right? That was really refreshing to see, dude. Charles Omenihu getting back in there and really creating some havoc. Karloff was in there just being an absolute madman, disturbing everything. And Jones even getting double teamed, getting in there, disrupting plays 4 or 5 times. I mean, 6 takeaways, 5 sacks. They made them change QBs, right? They're like, all right, we got to try something else. I mean, that's a huge testament right there. Yeah. Near flawless. I mean, flawless first half. They shut him out. Near flawless game, right? Hell of a day, dude. I mean, cool to see Jaden Hicks get an interception. Cool to see McDuffie get an interception. My boy Nick Bolton get one, right? You get an interception. Everybody gets one, man. There was a couple missed interceptions, so it could have been even more. It was just really refreshing to see them get out, just lose all that bad energy of oh man, we're falling apart, and then just watch them step it up and really they were able to finally crush a team the way we've been wanting a defense to crush a team, and it really showed in this game. And I it just takes one game to get that momentum going, right, and have it just last. So I really hope that they're just going to continue off of this and just be stellar, man. They crushed it.
Yeah, second game in a row, right, where they held the opponent scoreless in the first half.
Right.
Did the same thing, had accomplished the same feat against the Chargers the week before. Nick, the defense, pretty good to see a couple nice performances out of them after, we talked about this for a couple weeks here leading up to this last game or two, that they look like maybe they were showing some cracks or weren't necessarily playing as well. We've talked about the injury to Jalen Watson in the secondary, which we thought all affected the defense more than anticipated. But what did you see out of them? And is this encouraging? Is this something you think they can build some confidence and continue to play like this down the stretch?
Yeah, 100%. I think that the addition of Omenihu has really helped the pass rush all around, right? And you saw that. Look, we know the Browns are not a top tier team, but they made them look like a 3-10 offense, right? Playing against them. And I think that's what we were hoping to see, right? We were hoping that, they wouldn't allow the Browns offense to be competitive. We know that Jameis Winston is turnover prone, but he also, had over 30 touchdowns and over 5,100 yards passing in a season, right?
Man,
that's been a few years, but
he had a game a few weeks ago where he had almost 500 yards passing, some crazy number like that.
So he's a dude that can go off, right? And the defense, just shut it down. Dude, how awesome was the play in Trent McDuffie saying, like, he looks up and he sees on the Jumbotron that Jameis Winston is throwing the ball his way, and so then he turns around and picks it off. I mean, that's pretty insane.
The all right now part at the very beginning of the show. Right?
Yeah.
That's an awesome play.
So congratulations to him. I also saw that as far as like the lockdown, metric that they have on, I think it's PFF, that he's the number one lockdown corner in the league. So that
pretty
may
wide
explain,
margin too.
yeah, and that would explain why he probably doesn't have those picks, because his guys are so covered they don't even throw the ball his way. So
they don't.
But it was good, right? It was good. Hicks coming in, I think did a good job, and really kind of helped solidify that back into the defense. So also, prayers for Nick Chubb, hope he's okay. But up until his injury, like he was, we had one long rushing touchdown. I guess eventually everybody's going to get but like they weren't able to establish like a good run game with a premier running back. And that really kind of stifled their offense for the whole day, I think. So so really good all around.
Yeah, Jerome Ford's no slouch. The guy, he's got afterburners.
He's fast.
Yeah. And I think, Nick, you're spot on when it comes to Charles Omenihu. That's 2 weeks in a row, right? The guy's made a critical play. He made a stop on fourth down, right, in the game last week. And then this week he has the strip sack. Chiefs did not recover that, unfortunately. But that was like a flashback to old Derek Thomas days, right? Like coming around the edge like that, dude, just the old arm chop, like from behind to knock the ball out.
You're like, here it comes.
Right, yeah. You're just hoping he's going to get there in time, right? That old Jameis wild card Winston was going to hold on to the ball a little bit longer. But, he's really come on and is making a difference. And it has really, I think the defensive line, Chiefs are bottom third in the league in sacks this year, which is kind of surprising considering how good the defensive line has been and their ability to get sacks, and especially like getting it from the secondary, right? I know Jerry Sneed's not here now. He was a guy that was really, really good at blitzing from that secondary. But, if he can help draw some of the attention away from Chris Jones and George Karlaftis, and the Chiefs can get back to putting pressure on the quarterback and sacking the quarterback and maybe, get a couple more of these. It looks like Omenihu, he's got like the propensity to get that play. He had the same play against Lamar Jackson in the AFC Championship game last year before he left with the knee injury. They had the strip sack. So I feel like this defense getting back to pressuring the quarterback, getting sacks is going to make a lot of things right that we saw kind of maybe started to go wrong here these last few weeks, and help that secondary out. That, I mean, they have another injury in the secondary now, right? Unfortunately, I believe it was Shamari Connor had the concussion, had to leave the game. Guy took that knee right to the side of the head, man. So I just hope that guy's doing okay. You could tell he was done when he was laying on the ground, face down, not moving. You knew that his day was over. So, the defense has been really encouraging. I know last week we talked about they gave up 17 points in the second half to the Chargers, and they gave up back-to-back long touchdown drives. But the sample size really these last few weeks has been that they are getting back to playing the way they played the first half of the season.
Real dominant.
That's going to be huge because they've got some games coming up here against some offenses that I think can be had, right? I know Nico Collins coming back for the Texans. It has helped them, and we'll talk about them when we talk about the Texans game here coming up Saturday in a little bit. But yeah, man, the defense looked good. Props to you all. Like you said, Trent McDuffie gets his first career pick. It's absurd that it took this long, dude, for that guy to get an interception. But I don't. Are you expecting the dam to break a little bit now? Now the dam's broken, I should say. Maybe we see a flood of interceptions for Trent McDuffie. Nick, Bo?
That'd be great.
Yeah.
I mean, yeah, I don't know. But I mean, I would love to see some, regression to the mean, or not regression. I don't know, just gression to the mean.
Progression to the mean.
Progression, yeah.
I like to see it. Aggression.
Is it just Gresham, and then if it's past or going backwards, it's regression
and regression? But
yeah, I'm just trying to be funny. Evidently, I'm not not succeeding at it. But yeah, look, I would love to see it. But again, I do think that part of it is like they're just not throwing the ball his way a lot. And you saw why in that game. Now I know he's had a couple of games where, probably not to what he would say is his level of ball. But that happens to everybody, right? Everybody eventually has bad games or, poor performances. Trent McDuffie, since he's come into the league, I mean, I think Sauce Gardner is the same draft class as him. I know that he's been good, but I don't know that there's anybody. I think the Chiefs just hit such a home run with that draft pick, trading up to get him. I think stole him from the Bills. Were there's rumors that the Bills were going to draft him. So yeah, I would love to see it, but I just think he's just so good. They're not even throwing the ball at him.
Yeah, it's definitely they're avoiding the guy, and he does not get a lot of targets, the receivers he's covering. And so I don't know. I mean, you'll take that trade-off, right, as a guy who maybe gets picked on and gets a few interceptions here and there because teams just aren't throwing the ball to him at all.
Is that one of those stats, though, that he doesn't even care about because he's such a lockdown player? Nobody's throwing to him, and he gets his accolades anyway. Nobody's confusing that guy as some slouch who can't intercept the ball, right? He's taking out every number one top receiver in the league.
Yeah, I guess maybe the only thing you could say is, could he evolve to where he can cover the guys but bait the quarterback, right? I think that some of the great interception guys that you've seen in the past can make it seem like, there's enough separation, but then close and get there. But if he can't, it's a risky enterprise. We saw that Marcus Peters, when he was with the Chiefs, was like that, right? He'd bait the guys, or he'd go for the ball, and it was just like a high risk, high reward. But
yeah, that guy had some of the luckiest interceptions I've ever seen in my entire life.
Same like the guy on the other team.
He did.
He did the same thing.
Right. How many interceptions of Marcus Peters were just arm punts or terrible passes that were so far behind or off target?
So underthrown.
That he was like, oh, there's the ball coming right to me. Yeah.
But I think my point is Marcus Peters would go for the ball, and the interception is where McDuffie goes for breaking it up in incomplete pass, right? And so, turnovers are great, but when you go for the ball and you miss, and then the guy gets a 30-yard chunk play, right? That's costly. So
our man Big Chris is checking in here. He's gonna be at the game Saturday. Good for you,
nice.
Big Chris.
I'm gonna tell you right now, Chris, get louder.
It's gonna be loud.
Be louder, man.
Don't put that last comment from Chris on the screen. We're not doing that.
We're not going there today.
Yeah, Clyde Edwards-Helaire. I'm joking, obviously, about Chris's message here about CEH leaving, who landed on the Saints, which is the Chiefs' second practice squad or something now. Right. I don't know what. That's where either the retirement community for Chiefs players, they go there to finish out their last days in the NFL after they've come to the Chiefs and won rings. And hey, man, that used to be the Chiefs, right? We used to get all the cast-offs at the end of their career from the championship teams. And so now it's nice to see the roles reversed. Look, we put a post out. This show, everyone on here was pretty heavily critical of CEH and his play, right, and his time with the Chiefs. But nothing personal. By all accounts, the dude was a really, really good teammate and a good dude, and dealt with some mental things from an incident that he experienced. And so, look, best wishes to the guy. I never, commented, or I don't think we ever degrade him as like a person or a player or as a man, but
Yeah,
just
sure, we'd
like
never do that.
his performance on the field just never really lived up to that first round pick, right? And maybe it wasn't that he was the worst running back ever, but he never lived up to that first round pick. So,
Glide,
good luck.
thank you, sir.
Good luck.
Yeah. Cheers. Yeah.
Good luck on the Saints.
Bon temps roulette,
Right.
my man.
Yeah, right. He's back down. He's back down there. He's an LSU guy like Tyrann Mathieu, right? And so he's going to get down there. I want to say that I believe he's from Louisiana too. I don't think he just played at LSU. I'm pretty sure he's from that area in Louisiana down there. So good for him. He gets to go maybe play some more games and make some more money down there in New Orleans. So best of luck to Clyde Edwards-Helaire. It's been real, I guess you could say, is one way to put it. But anything else from this game against the Browns stand out? I mean, the turnover thing.
Yeah. The chat was talking about the long ball and our inability to get it. And then when we did go for it, it seemed like it was in triple coverage or whatever. What's you guys' take on the long ball? Should we? I guess it was. Here it is. My biggest disappointment is Mahomes still going for the long ball with guys open 10 or plus yards. And I know exactly what she's talking about. There was that play where I can't remember who's going to. Was it Kelty or
third down? He went to Watson and
Watson.
Looked like Worthy was open on the drag route, but he did have a guy trailing him. So I don't know.
Right.
Yeah. Look, I've been critical of Mahomes' deep ball for some time now in our group chat, not necessarily on the show. I don't know exactly what's going on with it. Scott and I have been talking about it, and I think maybe in our group chat too with you, Bo, like on and off this season. And I think maybe this year it's a protection issue, has kind of got in his head. And I think he's maybe not getting his feet set, and he's not, if he's second guessing anything, right. But this game was kind of like a next level off for him. So I don't know what was going on specifically with this game. I don't think I've ever seen Patrick miss throws consistently, that much. So I don't know. I mean, you'd like to see him take, easy shots on third down. It always drives me nuts when it's like a third and short or and we go for like a 50-yard play. It's great when it happens. And I think some of that is they knew they had some plays to gamble with in this game. And so he's trying to figure out if he can get it right. So yeah, I mean, I would love to see it start connecting, but until it starts, connecting, I think they should be drawing up plays that are, not quite as deep, to be honest.
Scott, what do you think? Do you think he should keep going for it, or do you think it's more just less? He's trying for a rookie and then a wide receiver 3 on most of these long balls, right? Do you think it's just the fact that we don't have the big weapon there or something? I don't know. What's your take?
Yeah, he's had some long passes dropped. He's had some long passes where the guy just didn't get his feet in bounds, right? Which was nice to see Xavier Worthy on the one play there. He had the touchdown tightrope, right? The sideline there and keep his feet in bounds. He's been a little bit off. I think it's a combination of there's no way he's comfortable back there, in the pocket or scrambling, right? I mean, that internal clock that he's got in his head has to be going off almost immediately. And so I don't know that he's had the opportunity to throw a lot of deep balls. I don't know that he's had guys that can get open. I don't know that he's had enough time. It's just like anything. If you don't get to do it with any regularity, you're not going to be as sharp with it. So I think it's a confluence of several probably different factors. Ultimately, I think, though, most of it is the pressure and the hits he's taken. I know he's got the ankle injury. The guy's got to be sore and kind of bruised and banged up right now.
Yeah.
So a combination of getting hit around a lot and getting sacked a lot and not having a lot of time back there and probably being a little amped up or a little sped up, I think that probably has a lot to do with it. Bo, I mean, What do you think it is? Do you want to see him keep doing it? Is it shelve it until next year or maybe in the playoffs? I mean, I don't really know what you think.
I mean, I'm fine with it. I'm fine with all the attempts, even if they're not great or like, they're kind of out of bounds or the receiver can't get his foot in. It just keeps the defense honest,
Sure.
because at any given point, one of those could go, and that's a 50, 60-yard play that you don't want to have happen to you if you're the defense, right? But I agree with you. I think his timing's been completely off. But I think it's more or less, dude. He's trying to do this with a rookie. He's trying to do this with Justin Watson, right? There was a game. I think it was like week 2. Was it it's either the Ravens or the Bengals where he just laced a dime to Rashee Rice. And,
that was against the Bengals.
40, 50,
yeah.
Mm-hmm. Yeah. And so
I was
it's like,
thinking of that.
It's there, right? And the timing and everything,
Sure.
And so it's like,
He had the long ball to Worthy against the Chargers in week 4 or 5 in LA. That same game that Rashee Rice got injured.
Long ball to Worthy almost every game, right? So,
and if you see that pass play that we were just talking about to Watson, it looks like he threw it over Watson's right shoulder, and Watson was trying to track it over his left shoulder. So some of this,
should have been
who
a
knows?
catch.
Yeah, who knows?
Like both hands, right?
Right.
Well, we've talked about drops. I mean, it's no secret.
There is a lot to the receiving core that he's been working with, right? And just the timing of everything. And then, like trying to keep defenses honest. You have to do it. Otherwise, they're just going to know you're going for that 10-yard play. So I'm okay with him doing it. I'm a fan of it, even if they don't connect every time. Because when it does happen, it's awesome. And yeah, dude, it's Patrick Mahomes. Like, you think he's going to be like this for the rest of the season? No. He's good. So
I don't believe that Patrick Mahomes has forgotten how to read defenses and throw the ball downfield.
Right.
I just don't believe that. The guy's he's getting the shit beat out of him this year, and he doesn't have time. Well, we went back and forth with someone that said, well, he's taking too long. I can't remember if we talked about this on last week's show or not. Like, well, he's holding the ball too long. That's part of the reason why he's getting so much And I'm like, dude, he does not have enough time to hold on to the ball too long. Like, that guy is. There's a lot of plays where as soon as he gets a snap, there's a dude in the backfield, and he's trying to avoid and scramble around. So, yeah, I feel like if you didn't lose Rashee Rice and Hollywood Brown for a majority, if not all of the rest of the season, you would have seen a lot more long balls. Even here recently, I mean, he's had 2 to DeAndre Hopkins where we're not going to call the one last week a drop where he just got drilled right in the air and got the ball jarred loose on like a bone crunch.
There was no call on a defensive hit.
I'm gonna, and we had a little bit of talk about this before the show started here in the lobby. That was a drop by D-Hop there at about the 2 or the 3 yard line. I expect that dude to catch that ball. The defender might have got a finger in there at the last second. It kind of like punched it away, but I guarantee you DeAndre Hopkins considers that a drop himself.
I think he has the same mindset.
So, I mean, you had the Justin Watson drop. You had the play against Tampa Bay where Worthy just didn't get his feet in bounds and 100% had enough room to get his feet in bounds. It would have been a long touchdown. They're there, and he's made some really nice long passes and deep balls. They just haven't come to fruition for whatever reason, whether it's been drops or a play by the defense or whatnot. But, I don't want to see Patrick Mahomes. No offense, I know to Alex Smith, but people call him check down Charlie, right? Oh, he just plays the check down all the time. Well, I mean, do you really want to go back to that? You know what I'm saying?
Right.
So,
yeah, I'm completely okay with what we're doing.
But again, if it's 3rd and 6 and you got a guy 10 yards downfield wide open, I agree. Maybe that's not the time to try to force the ball to a guy who maybe only has a step on a defender 40 or 50 yards downfield. But no, I don't want to see them abandon the deep pass at all.
Right. I guess that's more my point. I don't think the Chiefs should quit trying. I think he's just trying to push through, right? Eventually you push through and then you start making those connections. So I don't think they should quit, but man, on 3rd down calls where it's like 3rd and 5, and you got a guy open that could get the first down, like shouldn't pass that up for somebody that's, 50 yards downfield.
Right.
In my opinion, this is not, I don't think that's you go for the higher percentage, right? And then on your first down or maybe a second down, you can take that deep shot. So that's, but part of what
he even saw him though,
part of that's what makes Patrick great though, right? So even though it's frustrating for me to watch and I may discourage it, like 3rd down in the AFC Championship game, right? The guy that had been dropping the ball all year, we went to him against the Ravens, and that's what sealed the game. So like I get why they keep doing it. It's just you know, sometimes like in game, it's like, man, it's not working right now. Let's you know, as a fan, I don't know.
What I
It's
will
like
say about his drops is I love that they're not deflected. You know, they're just drops. Like they go to the ground. Nobody's. How many deflected interceptions have we seen from?
Oh yeah,
I'm doing the old Kadarius Tony.
right. Yeah,
Hot potato to the defender.
Juju
Yeah.
this year, right? He did
I wonder
that
if
at the beginning of the year.
I wonder if the Saints are going to sign Kadarius Toney. Yeah. So another thing too, before we kind of move on here, there's been this debate going on back and forth on social media, and I've heard about it on a little bit on the sports radio here too. Is like people are talking about, Matt Nagy's got to go, and Eric Bieniemy left, and since Eric Bieniemy left, the offense has been the same. Like, man, Andy Reid's the offense, right? Like, he's the offensive coordinator and the head coach. I would just like to know. I'm gonna go to Nick here first, and go to you, Bo. Nick, what percentage input do you put on like overall offensive struggles, game planning together? Like, like 0 to 100. How much of it is like Matt Nagy's blame or take or share or whatever you want to call it?
So are we talking about game day game calls or just like overall?
Just
offense?
overall, just overall in the offense struggling, having issues this year. I mean, Matt Nagy can't go out there and play left tackle, which is a big part of the issues with the
Look,
offense,
I think that part of the problem with the offense is Matt Nagy. I think that the difference in this league between being really, really good and being average or below average is very small. It's not like some huge margin. And I think that overall the Chiefs, like several years ago, were known for being innovative, right? Having new things, new schemes, things that people were stealing from them. And I think they've kind of like, it's like the iPhone, right? Like the iPhone used to come out with all the new shit, and now it's like now it's like they just kind of put out another mildly upgraded iPhone and
put
like
the buttons in different spots.
yeah, like, oh, we got this an extra button on this one. It's like, yeah, but like this other company's got like a 50 megapixel camera on theirs, and like it's like got like a, I don't know, a camera below the screen on the front and all this shit. And they're like, yeah, like we'll do that in like 20 years. And so I feel like the Chiefs have a little bit of that, a little bit of maybe stagnation, right, on some of their offensive schemes. So you can put the blame on Andy Reid, but I think that overall, like, you know, when we had Bieniemy, right, like we had like Patrick Mahomes broke the yardage record.
Yeah, we also had Tyreek Hill and Sammy Watkins and
He didn't have Tyreek Hill. He had Juju Smith-Schuster, right? Like now he did have a couple year younger Travis Kelce, so I get that. But I think that some of this is the finer detail work that we're talking about, that like the head coach probably isn't driving with the players. And I think that they should, in this offseason, look at making a change to try to bring in some fresh perspective, with the understanding that Andy Reid is still the person who's driving, 80 or 90% of it. I think it's that extra 10% of the details that are being, glossed over or missed, or I don't know. That's my opinion. But if you were talking about play calling, like we know that Andy Reid calls the plays, so it's it's not like Matt Nagy's to blame for throwing it, almost the entire second half when you're up by 14 and 21 points instead of running the ball. So, but I do think that like a lot of this, like these funks that we went into before when we had Matt Nagy as offensive coordinator, right? Like with Alex Smith, like we would have these slumps that the offense would get into, and I guess maybe that's Andy Reid, but I don't know. It just seems very different over the last couple of seasons since EB left.
Right. Yeah, I don't know. Bo, what do you think? How much share does Matt Nagy have in the offense and the struggles or whatever you want to call it?
I've never been a manager of managers, so I don't know how to manage a manager, right, like that. But like I know there's another Andy that should share some responsibility, and that's the offensive line coach, Andy Heck. Like, I feel like our offense should be clicking, and the only reason it's not is because of that O-line, man. And
yeah,
I mean, you're right? Like if your manager isn't recognizing where his weak parts in his team are, like maybe he needs to address it, or like get a new manager that will fix that kind of thing.
Right.
But like I feel like, I mean, Travis Kelce even said it today. He even feels like the offense is just like a click behind. Like it's right there, right? And I feel the same way. And I feel like I said at the top of the hour, but it's the most glaring thing is the O line, man. I've never been more concerned about any offensive problem than we have right now, or is that right now. I mean, our receiving core is healthy. Our running backs are there, right? We got tight ends, younger tight ends showing up. Travis Kelce's still the same guy. So I mean, like, if that's the only thing, like, is it Nagy to get on the O line? I mean, it is, but like, it's also that O line coach. Everything's so compartmentalized. Like, I don't know if like it's just Andy Reid and Nagy, right? There's a plethora of coaches that need to get that shit together. But it seems like we're just complaining about such a small problem, but it's so glaring, obviously, to us. Like we're 13-1 at the end of the day, you know? Like,
Yeah,
that's
right. Yeah, I think Matt Nagy has about 5% of the offensive responsibilities and duties and share or blame or credit. Andy Reid designs the offense. Andy Reid designs the plays. Andy Reid calls the plays. I don't think Eric Bieniemy was the one that was like coming up with these like mind-blowing offensive, genius offensive plays and in theory and whatever you want to call it, scheme that put the Chiefs offense over the top. And now since he's gone, now it's like that's the thing. I don't think that's it. I don't think Matt Nagy really has much to do with it at all. I think it's like a figurehead position when you are Andy Reid's offensive coordinator. They just don't have the players right now either. Like you watch these Bills and like the Rams, and you see like a Puka Nacua, man. Like he catches a ball, or an Amon-Ra St. Brown catches a ball and has a step or two on the defender, and then just burns them to the end zone, right? Like the Chiefs just don't have those guys right now. The line, the protection is bad, which is really limiting what they can do and what they can call. So. I don't know. I'm not. And if the offense was humming and was going gangbusters, I wouldn't be giving the credit. It's not like I'm like not going to give Matt Nagy the blame, but give him the credit. I think the successes and the failures of the Chiefs offense lie 95% with the head coach, with Andy Reid, and the other 5 or 10% maybe is like the players and the line or whatever you want to call it, but. It's interesting. We'll see if they can get things going back. Hollywood Brown comes back. I'm looking forward to seeing what that guy can do, and maybe he can help a guy like Xavier Worthy, draw some attention away from him, maybe impart some wisdom on him, give Patrick another option, another deep threat, something for defenses to factor into their game plan. So the game against the Texans coming up Saturday. The big question, and we're going to talk about it here, and we'd love to know what everyone thinks in the chat. There's been a lot of sentiment online and sports media and radio that they should just rest Patrick Mahomes no matter what. We need him healthy for the playoffs, and he can't play right now, and he's going to get killed out there. I don't know what people are expecting to happen in the playoffs with the line. I think it's going to be something they're going to have to deal with then. I don't see it just magically getting fixed in the next 2 or 3 or 4 weeks. Is there anybody on this panel or in the chat that thinks that Patrick Mahomes should just not play this week under any circumstance? Bo?
No, dude, barring some like fluke injury at practice or like the results come back way worse than anticipated. No, we're talking about an ankle sprain, man. We've seen this we've seen this before from him, but like out of all the injuries we see in football, like a sore ankle is manageable, right? Like he might stop a couple times and wince and like, come up a little limpy, but like yeah, dude's gonna play. Like you see his mentality on the sidelines, on all the mic'd up and everything. He's just like, no, put me in. No, I'm fine. Like, no. Go get an X-ray. Like this was 2 years ago, obviously, right? But even this year or this game, you saw Matt Nagy sitting there like convincing him, like, "Hey, man, you gotta just sit out, just rest. And you could just sit there. You see him watching, just convince him to do that, and he's just like, no. And then I guess ultimately they did, but that guy's gonna play. Like, if the doctor clears him, and he wants to. I don't think you're stopping that guy. I don't. He's such a competitor, man. There's no way that he's just gonna be like, no. Not with the 1 seed on the line, If we had a bigger cushion, right? If we had won and the Bills lost to the Lions, right? Then this is kind of like a no-brainer. Like, rest him a week, or even just play in the first half, see how it goes, right? And then if we get a lead, we can talk about taking him out the second half, kind of stuff. But no, he's gonna play. No doubt about that.
Nick, should they just not consider playing Patrick Mahomes at all for any reason this week?
Look. with Patrick Mahomes, the margin for victory of this team for most of the year has only been a couple of points, and it's only because of the plays that he's making towards the end of the games a lot of times to do it, right?
Yeah, exactly.
So everybody's acting like this Texans game is just some freebie. And
it's not a freebie.
They've won their division, like they're
Winning
a
record.
good team. You know that CJ Stroud wants to come in and put up a show. Everybody has circled this game on their calendar for the whole year across the league. Everybody that played the Chiefs, right?
It's a game to watch.
And so you have a game to play with, but you don't want to gamble it on the Texans game. You want to gamble that maybe on the Steelers game, right? Like you want to save that loss as long as you can, because you've got to win 2 out of the next 3 games to essentially win a playoff game, right? Like getting the bye is like basically winning a playoff game that you don't have to play. And if they can win these 2 games, then Scott said it earlier, they're going to get over 3 calendar weeks of rest. And, that's like the tide that raises all ships, because that's not just rest for Patrick, right? That's rest for Travis Kelce. That's rest, like to give Hollywood Brown, like maybe, some time to work into the offense. That's rest for everybody that hasn't had a bye week since October. So I think that's the goal. The other side of this is like, there was literally 0 like chance in my mind that he wasn't going to play. And I've kind of, I don't know. It's kind of like we've talked about this before, where it's like every postseason, everybody goes, I'm never going to start doubting Mahomes again. And I'm never going to say he's not the best quarterback again. And then like week 13, they're like, maybe he's not the best quarterback anymore. Maybe it's Josh Allen, or maybe it's Joe Burrow, or maybe it's Lamar Jackson. And then like the postseason happens and they're like, dude, I don't know. This is another one of those things where it's like, were people just not been paying attention? And did they forget like that this guy has played with this injury before, that he wanted to come in when he had his kneecap dislocated and like he wanted to come back in the game?
I don't think the debate is so much about like if he wants to play or will. It's like people are literally out there saying it doesn't matter if he's 90% or healthy. He shouldn't play in this game because they need to rest him because they can't have him getting hurt for the playoffs. Well, you could apply that to every game. I mean, I don't know.
Josh Allen shouldn't play the next 4 weeks either, right?
Right. Like, that whole argument to me is like that he should not play regardless of circumstance or at all is, to me, is just, I mean, it's asinine, really.
What they should do instead of that is go down and tell that freaking offensive line to protect him.
Yeah, I think it's at the point, man, where like if they could, they would, right? Like I just don't think they're capable of doing it. So, I don't know. So we're all in agreement. I don't know. I think everybody in the chat has been in agreement here that like Patrick needs to play this weekend. Like, I give the Chiefs probably less than a 50% chance of winning this game with Carson Wentz starting and playing the entire game. Do you guys have more faith in Carson Wentz than that? Then I
have to stick with Vegas, dude. They went from 2.5-point dogs to 3-point favorites just when Patrick Mahomes practiced.
Right.
So, like, yeah, I'm with you. Like, I think he's a competent quarterback. Like, we've seen he has a pretty good resume, but at the same time, like, yeah, not with this team, man. There's only one guy that can do what he's doing with this team, right? Those 1-score or wins for us probably turn into 1-score losses if it's wins at the helm.
Well, Carson Wentz kind of turned into the anti-Mahomes when his offensive line was struggling, right? We've seen that where he starts running around and he's like Jameis Winston. He turns into a wild card and does. Sometimes it's great and a lot of times it's not, and that's why he's the backup now.
He did not look mobile either on a couple of the plays where he tried to scramble out there. He is not fast. He is not nimble anymore. He's had his day in the sun, and that day is gone. So,
sun are limited for gingers.
Chiefs need to win these next 2 games, and then Patrick Mahomes, I've calculated it up, can have like 23 or 24 days of rest. With the way the Christmas Wednesday, that's like a blessing and a curse, right? It's 3 games,
too much.
3 games in 11 days. But hey, man, like if you can win these next 2 games, he won't play a game from the 25th of December till like the 18th or the 19th of January, which is a long time. And I'm all for that.
Rest though.
I'm all for that. I'm I'll take the rest over rust when it comes to a guy like Patrick Mahomes. He's proven himself. He knows how to play. He's going to go out there and make the plays to win the game. So yeah, they need to win these
Doug's
next two
bringing
games.
up a point right now that I feel like could go along with this. He's talking about Brown not being in sync with Mahomes, right? Would you want an extra game of him just playing like maybe half just to get more reps with Brown and stuff for the playoffs?
I mean, you're talking about like if they can rest him week 17 or 18, I guess it would be against the Broncos.
Against the Broncos. Maybe play the first half of the Broncos.
Yeah.
Just like I say, as many reps as you can with Brown in before the.
I think that's
4
what
months, almost a month of like not
they need
playing.
Right, they need to get on the same page. These next two games is what they need to do and win them. And then Patrick Mahomes needs to rest. I don't know. They had training camp. Like Hollywood Brown, he should be familiar with the offense by now. He's been here for an entire year. I know he hasn't got to play, but
sits in all the meetings, right? Watches all the tape.
Yeah, I don't think Patrick Mahomes should take a snap after they get the 1 seed locked up. That's my opinion. Nick, you disagree with that?
Yeah.
No, I don't. No. They definitely look once you have home field advantage locked up, then
Shut it down.
Yeah, I think they should rest them. I know that game is different, but they'll have practices where they can try to get those guys on the same page,
Right.
and hopefully Brown has been keeping up with the playbook and everything while he's been going through it. So I don't think it's a bad point, Bo, but I just think that the risk of injuring him or Hollywood Brown, right, in a game where it's basically meaningless to the team,
Yeah, sure.
like I just don't think it's worth it.
Right. So we all our team Patrick needs to play this week, and
Yeah.
I think pretty much everybody's. There was polls out there that were showing like 70-80% of people voting in the poll saying, "Oh, Patrick shouldn't play this week under any circumstance, or they shouldn't even consider playing him this week." I'm like, bro,
He did not Tua
What?
himself, right? Like it's a sprained ankle.
it's crazy. But there's a lot of people out there. There are a lot of people out there that would just not play him. Just they wouldn't even consider playing him. They're just not going to do it, which is crazy to me.
Surprise that people
Right.
that aren't fans of the Chiefs want to.
Yeah. Oh, these are Chiefs fans, I think. I mean, I've seen Chiefs fans.
Yeah.
People that we
Here,
follow
Evan
and
said that,
interact with
right?
on social media are saying they shouldn't play him. We're talking about Chiefs fans. I'm not talking about morons on ESPN or whatever, like or
I know it's a
trolls
small
from other
sample size, but we got
accounts,
60
yeah.
people in here right now. Is there
Right.
anybody that's watching this right now that thinks otherwise?
Comment in there like sit him or something if you think that they should just not play him no matter what. That's correct. That's wild to me, but it's out there. How are we feeling about this game against the Texans? Bo, you feeling good, confident? It's a pretty good opponent coming into Arrowhead, but the Chiefs, I mean, are the better team playing at home.
I feel really confident after this last game. I like what our defense did, and I'm like I was saying earlier, if they can just keep riding that wave, I feel like we can really stifle this offense, which has kind of been struggling. Like they've been winning, but like they haven't been putting up ridiculous numbers. Sounds a little familiar, right? But keep the pressure up. I'm pretty sure that we can do our own. Their O line seems a little bit more suspect than ours on the interior. So I feel really confident that we're going to see Omenihu and Karlaftis just have themselves a day next week, right? As far as our offense, man, if we can just get that offensive line, just the two tackles, if we can just get them, that half-second breather we're talking about, and Mahomes can realize that half-second breather is there, I think, dude, we're easily scoring over 30 points, like no problem, right? So
yeah.
Complimentary football has been a struggle for us to say the
Right,
least this
yeah.
year. So
Right,
whether or not the
that's true.
defense can keep doing that and then the offense can score is one thing, but no, man, there's no reason they shouldn't. Like what a great game to like knock off some of those bad habits and really like hone in on what we need to do.
Nick, how do you feel about the game against the Texans?
Yeah, look, I feel good. So have they said if Hollywood Brown's going to play for sure?
I think he's been practicing all week.
Full
So
participant,
he practiced
I think
last
so.
week. So
There's no reason that he wouldn't,
I
right?
think he's going to play.
Right.
Look, I think that what I'm looking forward to the most from him coming back is with Rashee Rice, we had somebody that could quickly get like open on like a
Right.
quick slant,
Right.
a timing play, and get the ball out of Patrick's hands fast, right? And I think that, or my hope is that him coming back to the offense opens that back up, and that can help with that pass rush, right? Because the Texans, I think they have like the second most sacks in the NFL this year. They have a really good pass rush. Now, one of the other things that I will say, right, and like I know that I was just criticizing the line. We've seen this before, where once Patrick is hurt, like we've seen people step up, right? Like we've seen, Jerick McKinnon, right, coming in and making some good blocks. P. Ryan has helped out. So I do think that like the line will step up, and I think that they will play better. I think that I do believe that, right? But I do think that getting Hollywood Brown back is going to help. And then with the defense, they're getting stronger. We're like we've talked about that earlier. So I echo what Bo says. I feel like CJ Stroud has, he's hit a bit of a sophomore slump this year. And so, I think that he's going to struggle against the Steve Spagnuolo defense.
Right. They the Texans do have a guy that on their team, Hunter, that's got, I want to say, second in the NFL in sacks right now. So that's a little bit worrisome. But
they have 2 guys with over 10, right?
Right.
Like,
yeah.
The league leaders 12.5 or 13 sacks or something.
Right.
Like that.
Yeah. Trey Hendrickson, the Bengals, is leading the NFL in sacks this year.
Well, look, Patrick just bought them all Rolexes and Yeti coolers and ostrich cowboy boots and compression stuff. So I mean, they got to deliver now, right? I mean,
I need to buy him some lessons.
Yeah, I wonder if they just one of them were like, "Yo, you should just take this shit back."
I respectfully decline this gift. Yeah, no, it's gonna be interesting to see what they do. I mean, I feel pretty good about this game. I think it's gonna be close. I think it's gonna be another 1-score nail biter, stressful game. I just feel like the Chiefs, they know how to win this game, and I don't know that the Houston Texans really know how to win this game. They've been their record's not glossy, right? They're a playoff team and they're going to win their division, but they are what right now? What's their record? 9-5.
9-5? Yeah, I think so.
So, they can be beaten. They got waxed by the Vikings. They lost another kind of game to somebody that was kind of a surprise. So, they could be had. Nico Collins is back. I worried a little bit with we talked about some of the secondary issues, but maybe just throw Trent McDuffie on him and cover him that way. So I'm feeling pretty good. What do we think? I mean, is it going to be the defense? Is it going to have to be the offense that carries the team home, Bo?
Sadly, I think it's going to have to be the defense again, right? Like we haven't made any drastic moves to suggest that the O-line is going to be any better than what we've seen in the past. So, just another 3-hour stressful Saturday for us, right? I actually like how our offense lines up against their defense, though. Like you said, if we can get Brown in there, even for just a couple plays that just disrupts the timing of everything. Like I think that'll go a long way in getting our ability to score down to pack. But I'm really worried about their defensive. The defensive rush there against our O-line, right? That's like a huge concern. And but I'm still confident. I still think, I liked what Tooney did, man. Like coming in there and 0 sacks.
Playing against Myles Garrett. Oh yeah.
Right, dude. And so it's like I think that bandage will work for now. And I'm just kind of keeping my fingers crossed that it does, but we'll see.
Myles Garrett is such a freak. Did you see that one where you stand there? And like he had his arms up, and did you see how big that guy's arms are? Like,
dude, even when he's just standing still, he's like, it looks like he's flexing, man. Like,
dude, his arms looked like as big around as my chest. Like that dude's arm looked like as big as me. It was fucking crazy. Like that dude is an animal, man. That dude is a beast. So, so props to Joe
to what he did. But I think it's going to be more or less dependent on what our defense can do, right? If we can keep them low scoring and then give our offense a shot, I think we got it.
Yeah, Kevin's talking about Netflix pay to watch. Yeah, it's a thing that a lot of people complain about. Unfortunately, record people pay for the service and tune into the Peacock and the Netflix shit. It's like, look, man, like if you really we get living in KC area is one of the benefits is even if it's on like a cable channel or if it's on like a Netflix, they still put it on channel 41 here. So. They carry it on an over-the-air station locally. But, like, people complaining about it, look, if you want it to stop, you're just going to have to not watch.
Right, I know.
These teams and these these networks aren't going to pay huge amounts of money to the NFL for these games if they don't get the views and the people subscribing and sign up for the free subscription, and then they forget to cancel, and then now you got Netflix for the next 5 years because you never cancel it. Like, you got to
If
sacrifice,
this game is
man,
anything like that Tyson fight, though, man, I am going to be the
That's
biggest
what I was about to
advocate for
say.
not signing up for Netflix you've ever seen.
Yeah, Bo's looks like he's back there in the 505. It looks like to me. So he's he's out of Chiefs Kingdom, and so he'll be dependent on the streamability of Netflix. But I don't know. We'll see how they do. I think it's going to be the defense is going to have to come in there, and I think the Chiefs score 20 something in this game. I think you can run on the Texans defense. The Texans defense is not a super stout unit. It's kind of funny. I was thinking back to the 24-0 comeback against the Texans, right? Wasn't that the team at Arrowhead in the playoff? Game where it kind of started this whole dynasty in motion and kicked this thing all off. So they come back to Arrowhead. Nick, who's your player to watch? Who has a big game, offense or defense, against the Texans?
We've said his name a couple of times. I'm gonna go Charles Omenihu. I think he's gonna have a couple of big plays in this game.
So you can count on Charles Omenihu to not do much. I'm just kidding.
Yeah, no, I've been whiffing
Nick's
all
been
year.
Whiffing this year, so yeah, he's come in, man, and he's been hard on himself. Like, he wants to be making more plays, and I feel like he's expecting himself, but he's, like I said, man, he's got a stop on 4th down that killed a drive. He got the sack fumble. I mean, he's getting in the backfield. He's disrupting. He's playing good. Bo, who's your player to watch? Who has a big game against the Texans?
My man Nick Bolton, ready?
Nick Bolton.
He got it. He got his first taste of takeaway, right? He's ready to get more. My prediction's still going to go strong. He's going to get 2 in one game, right? I thought it was going to happen this past game, but yeah, watch him, dude. He's just been good. He's gotten burned, I think, like twice this season, where it's just been so glaring. You're like, oh man. But other than that, dude, he's been so solid. I mean, he's saved games for us. Yeah, he's coming to form. He doesn't have that big old cast on him now anymore. It's a lot more lightweight. Watch number 32. He's going to do it.
All right, Big Doug, they're guilty. Look, I don't remember hearing you complain about having to pay for the game, Big Doug. So it's only one of those things where if you're complaining about it and you don't like it or you don't think it's right, that you shouldn't watch it. I mean, NFL's a business, and I mean, I buy season tickets, so I'm not going to complain about having to sign up for Netflix for $9 for a month to watch the game, right? Like, I pay a lot of money for the Chiefs, the games or whatever, the tickets. So, yeah, I mean, I get it. Not everybody can afford to do it. I'm not a millionaire. I'm not trying to sit here and brag or act like I'm.
Hey, we don't charge for our show, so I
season
don't see why the
ticket holder,
NFL
so-
should make people pay.
Right. So look, I get I get the sentiment. I don't necessarily agree with it 100%. And again, if you are of that mindset, then you just need to not watch. And these networks won't pay the big money contracts if no one watches. That's the trade-off there. So I'm so glad neither of you took my pick. This is like the most obvious pick ever. DeAndre Hopkins revenge game against the Texans, man. Like, the dude's been
I'm still going defense.
Patrick's best friend here lately, is getting more and more snaps and targets. And I could really use him to have a big game on my fantasy team. And
That's what I was waiting for.
the
I knew
championship
it.
game.
I knew it.
You knew there was another angle. No, look, anytime you go up against your old team, I don't know how many teammates he's probably got left on the Texans at this point, but that organization kind of just discarded him like he was nothing. I don't know. It was really weird. And that was the whole, what was that coach's
Bill O'Brien?
name? Bill O'Brien,
Yeah.
obviously don't know ball because he ain't in the league no more. Yeah, I'm going DeAndre Hopkins, big game. I think he gets over 100 and at least one touchdown this game.
He traded him to the Cardinals for like kind of nothing, right?
Right. It was bizarre, super bizarre. I don't know. So, I think he sticks it to his old team. Kevin's checking in with a score prediction, it looks like here. So we'll just get that out of the way here. Who wants to go first? I think I went first the last couple of weeks. So
yeah, I got it. I
Bo's
think,
gonna
dude, if we
take
can
the lead.
just, if we can just keep our momentum going, right, and like I said, just buy that half-second time for Patrick to throw the ball and set his feet. I think we see a different offense. I think we see a team score over 30, And our defense, I really like. I think that defense is able to carry that momentum and hold them to under 20. So I'm looking for a blowout here. I'm going to go 32 dude, 32-17. Let's go.
Did you pick 32 because that's Nick Bolton's number?
Maybe.
I have some ideas.
Yeah, Bo's feeling a little bit different about the game than I am. Nick, what's your score? What you got?
Oh, I'm gonna say the Chiefs are gonna win 27 to 20.
27 to 20. I'm going 24 to 19. Chiefs. 5-point win. A little more than a field goal, but not quite a touchdown. CKL is a pay to view. You don't have to pay any money. You just have to pay with your soul. No, just kidding. I mean, I feel good about it. I think the Chiefs are going to win.
We all already sold our souls to get to 13-1.
I'm out of the business of picking the Chiefs to blow people out, man. Like I'm just not like
this year. I'm
shutting up that. I'm shutting down that shop, man. I might reopen it next year, but I don't know. I'm gonna pick
Andy Reid with a 3-score lead.
Right,
He's closing up shop on.
Yeah. So. I don't know anything we want to talk about. We can talk about AFC playoff picture. I mean, it's looking like the Bills are going to be at least the 2 at this point, right? They won the line. Oh, let's talk about the Lions coach is like
Dan Campbell.
Dude, he's their Achilles heel, right? I don't know what. I mean, he's turned that franchise around. I think also picking well at the top of the draft for a decade and having all these stud players helps a lot. But dude, the onside kick against the Bills totally just screwed them out of having any opportunity to win that game, right? I mean, he does this thing where he goes for plays. It was against the Cowboys last year that ended up costing them the 1 seed, where he went for it and they got the 2-point conversion, but then there was a penalty. So then he still went for the 2-point conversion from like the 7-yard line and they lost. He didn't kick the field goal against the 49ers in the championship game last year that ended up coming back to bite him in the ass. Now he's doing onside. There was like 6 or 7 minutes left in that game. Like, get a stop and get the ball back. They're only down by what, 10 points, right?
There's like 11 or 12 minutes left.
Dude, there was so much time left.
Yeah.
That guy, he's not learning from his mistakes, man.
Dude, especially this year with the new rule format where you have to announce the onside kick so you know it's coming and all that shit. And you're like, really? Really? It's not
It's like a 7 or 10% chance of getting an onside kick. That's the success rate this year. And so like you don't think that you have more than a 10% chance of forcing a punt, right? Is what
right.
That's what I'm hearing there. Now maybe
it'd be interesting to be a fly in the room or the fly in the headset and hear like, all right, these are the statistics on this play right now, right? Like this is what we've been doing.
I don't think it's the statistics. I think that dude just like his emotions get away from him and he just doesn't think clearly. And everybody talked about, remember old Riverboat Ron Rivera, the gambler, right? When he had Cam Newton and he had an MVP quarterback, he looked like a genius. And then once that went away, he looked like an idiot, right? I mean, the guy constantly makes bad decisions at the wrong times. And I mean, it's hard if you're the general manager or someone to try to rein him in. You don't want to be Jerry Jones in it and getting all up in the dude's business because he has helped turn the franchise around. And
he's had a
players like him.
With that franchise,
but at the same time, I feel like somebody in that organization's got to get to him and be like, man, you got to stop with like the silly shit, man. Like, I don't know.
Right? When you're like, hey man, ZT fly. You just need to take a step back, let the DC or the OC call this next one.
Coach, we're here because we love you, but we've got to talk about your self-destructive behavior.
Right. Yeah, the dude needs an intervention or something. I think Bo just said it there. So, yeah, I don't know. The Lions, to me, they are they're 13-2 now. Is that right?
Yeah.
Or 12-2. 12-2. They got 3 games.
12-2.
12-2. They were tied with the Chiefs with the best record. That defense to me does not look championship quality. It looks like they can be had. The Bills, they're looking like the prime competition in the AFC, but they've given up 84 points or something in the last 2 games.
Yeah.
That's got to be concerning, man. If you're a Bills
luckily
fan,
they're scored 90, but yeah.
Yeah, right. So they lost to the Rams. I thought they were gonna lose to the Lions too, but They kept the pressure on the Chiefs by winning that game. Chiefs could have been looking at just like.
Just saw that. Tell them.
Yep. Tell the folks. Make sure. Tell Coach Ron and them to have Merry Christmas. So.
They actually might be watching since I'm doing it from their house.
Oh, okay. All right. Hello
He's
to
Bears
them.
fan.
Hope that
he's not too keen on Chiefs talk.
Dude, so the Bears, like, right, they started hot and they've lost 8 straight games since the play where the dude was jawing with the fans and then like screwed the Hail Mary up. They haven't won a game since then.
That's so good, dude.
Someone pointed out that Justin Fields won more games with the Bears last year than Caleb Williams has won, and he didn't have Keenan Allen and he didn't have DeAndre Swift and but Caleb Williams was going to be the next Mahomes, man. Remember, people are saying that. Like
Caleb Williams on any other team, tell me he's not a better quarterback, right? Tell me like really good quarterbacks on the Bears probably suck ass, dude. Like I don't know, man.
He's got good players. He's got DJ Moore, man. He's got an old Keenan Allen, but Keenan Allen can still play fairly.
They fired his coach mid-season of his rookie year.
Swift, I don't know. A part of the reason is because that guy was losing games. I don't know, man.
They were losing games before he got there.
I don't know. Yeah,
they've been losing games for a while.
I'm not sold on the Caleb Williams thing, man.
Yeah, look, I'm not saying he's going to be great or anything, but we've seen with some of these other players, right? We talked about this last week, Scott. I think you can't just give up on him after 12 games.
I'm not saying you should give up on him, but I mean, Jaden Daniels looks a lot better than Caleb Williams.
For sure, but okay, I would argue it's a hard argument that the Commanders are a lot better than the Bears, right? Organizationally, right? Maybe not talent-wise. But that's what we're just talking about with our coaches, right? Like a lot of it's like how much is the coach set up or is setting you up to win, and how much of it is setting you up to fail. And I feel like they're setting that dude up to fail so hard, man.
Our man John V showing up in the chat here at the end. Good to see you, bro.
It's like my appearance last week. Coming in hot.
Coming in at the buzzer here. Getting the walk-ons off the bench here in a blowout. John V showing up. Man, it's 49ers.
Don't bring it up, Scott. Just don't do it to him, man. It's Christmas.
Brock Purdy, man. Okay, you're right. I'm just going to let it go. 49ers, I feel bad for John. They're having a tough year. They've had injuries ravaged.
Nobody predicted what was going to happen to them, man.
No, so it was funny. I went back and looked at the polls that we did at the beginning for the preview show. And it was like 97% of the people or whatever picked the 49ers to win that division. I did. I know. I did. I mean, it was the next closest blowout margin in the polls for the division winning predictions, right after the Chiefs 99% or whatever it was. But I was bummed I didn't get out to that game and the Browns game this last weekend. I was going to try and hook up with John V and Nick, their shit Nick or whatever you want to call him, for the locker room rant. I did not get that.
I'm immensely happy that I'm not referred to as shit Nick.
Yeah, it's cool Nick and then shit Nick. Hey, that was Tony that gave him that name. I didn't give him that name. So I just started the new job here the last week or two, and it was just a travel, and with the holiday coming up, and it was just not going to happen. It was just not going to work. So I'm going to get out there, though.
That weather looked miserable to go stand on that game.
Dude, this summer, Royals Indians baseball game in Cleveland. I'm going to be there. We got to get that hooked up.
Guardians, bro. Guardians. Don't get us canceled.
Now they're bringing back the old Redskins logo, man. Like them days are over. So
are they?
Guardians?
Yeah, they're talking about bringing it back, the logo, because
I heard
it. Yeah. Anyway,
I love all the news pundits that get paid to do this shit. There you go. And the Washington Reds Commanders, right? You just see them. It just rolls off the tongue still.
Right. Yeah. So, yeah, I'm hoping to get the new coworkers' names right. I've got them all right so far. So, I don't know anything else you guys want to talk about. I mean, I think we pretty much hit all the high points, really.
There's who was the 49ers player that refused to play? I just heard he got like a 3 or 4 game suspension.
Oh, yeah. Refusing to play. refusing to do your job that you get paid millions of dollars.
That guy had a bad week.
Right. Yeah, that's ill-advised. That's bad career choice.
He must have taken the advice of Antonio Brown.
That was the
You know
opposite.
what really works? Just leave.
Right. Yeah, remember with the talk about old Tyrann Mathieu was making a business decision. That guy made a non-business decision because that was a bad choice to not go in and play.
He bought that Hawk Tua Girls meme coin. That's like the level of business decision that he made.
Right. John's talking about. Listen, John, that was Tony that gave him that name. Okay, John's acting like that's something new that he's never heard that before. It was Tony that gave him the name Shitnik when we were on the show that one time. So
it just stuck. It just stuck so well too.
Right.
Kidding. I love you, Nico.
Appreciate you, John V, for swinging in, man. Hope you're doing well. I will get out there for a Royals game.
That's a great point, John. Like, talk about like ruining any future chances you have of playing too, right? Like, oh, you just walk out on your team.
John, I can go back and find the video.
Yeah, I was gonna say I clearly remember Tony calling him Shitnik.
Right.
I don't remember dumb Nick.
It's on the internet, John. It's on the internet, JV. It didn't go away. It's there. So, okay, I'll be the only person that calls him that. So, I'm not gonna call him that to his face. It looks to me like the next biggest arms after Myles Garrett are Nick. That dude looks like
Nico's.
Right, dude. That dude.
Yeah, he does. He
looks like a big
scrawny.
dude. He looks like one of them big barrel-chested dudes. So I am not going to call him that to his face. So, but I hope y'all are doing good out there in Ohio. We really appreciate everybody watching. Again, we will be back next Thursday night. We're not going to do the Christmas night special. We'll break down. We'll have 2 games to talk about next Thursday.
Nice.
We'll have the Texans
Santa
game.
hat action here for Christmas.
Nick's got the Santa hat going. We'll have to break down 2 games next week. And hopefully be talking about a 1 seed locked up next Thursday after the Chiefs beat the Texans and then go into Pittsburgh and beat the Steelers. Then we can talk about who to rest and who should get that much and get ready for this playoff run to finalize this 3-peat.
Love you, Nico.
Still kills me. It still kills me in the intro that Bo put together that Patrick Mahomes is like, oh, back to back. I want to get 3. No one's ever gotten 3. I want to get that back to back to back. Like the dude's appetite is just like insatiable, right? Like the guy is just, you just want back to back Super Bowls, and literally like one of the first 2 or 3 things that pops into your head
before he's getting the trophy or the Super Bowl he just won. He's like already thinking about the next one.
Right. It's like, I want to get 3. No one's ever got 3. I want back to back to back. So hopefully next Thursday we'll be talking about the Chiefs having the 1 seed, which is about as good a spot, as good a position as you could get to get the 3-peat, man. So Let's 2 big games coming up. One at Arrowhead and then one at that ugly ass piss bowl out there in Pittsburgh. Looking forward to it. Thanks everybody for showing up in the chat. Make sure, again, if you haven't liked and subscribed, make sure you do that now before we get out of here. Chiefs Texans, Chiefs Steelers next week, Christmas Day. Want to wish everybody here a Merry Christmas from, I know, Bo and Nick. To all of our friends there in the chat and all of our friends out there in Chiefs Kingdom.
Likewise, buddy.
Let's get this thing going, man. Let's get this first win out of the way and then worry about the Steelers on Christmas Day, Saturday. Until next week, let's go Chiefs.
Go Chiefs.
I do this all the time. We're not going to go Chiefs. Time out. Sorry. Before we cut out. Christmas giveaway. Giveaway. These guys didn't know about it, but I got some things to give away.
Merry Christmas.
Christmas giveaway. We're like 50 people. From
we are
5,000 on X, right? And I'm thinking
it's getting close.
I have a couple jersey, right? We're gonna give away a Watson jersey. We're gonna give away a Patrick Mahomes Funko. There's some other stuff.
All right.
So tune in next week. I'm gonna be giving away some stuff. So
maybe get stocking stuff or so. Tell your friends, and we'll be back Thursday. Talk Chiefs. See you then.
Go Chiefs.